So in the last class, that what we have had a discussion is about exception handling. Okay, so we have seen the like what is an error is basically what is an exception. Okay, so what are the different kinds of errors are there, and how to handle the exceptions, that also we have seen using a simple try catch block. Okay, so basically what we have understood is basically uh, to handle any kind of exceptions, you have to put all your source code in the try block. Okay, so let me share my slide first. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I said earlier, so to avoid any kind of exceptions, so if you think your source code contains any kind of errors, so that has to be inserted inside the try block. Okay, so any kind of message that you want to display to the user in case of any exception occurs within the try block, that has to be placed within the catch block. And what is the use of the finally keyword? The finally keyword is used to clear the resources claimed during the try block, and the finally block always executed whether error occurs or error not occurs, but the finally block is always executed. As I told you earlier, you are opening a file over here and you are trying to write a file over here, but the file is read only, so you are unable to write into that file, so you are getting a runtime error. So immediately an error will occur, so it will be thrown out, and that error will be taken care by the catch block, and you will display a message over here. Okay, the file is read only. Okay, so the user will be able to understand that yes, the file is read only, though the file is open, but the user is unable to read the file. So in such a case, in the finally block, you have to close the file explicitly by yourself. So this is one case. Second case is that if there is no such error, means if the file is not read only, okay, the file will be open and you are able to write the content into the file. So after that, it will not come to your catch block, right? Then you will come to your finally block and you will close the file. Okay, so whether it is error occurs or not, your finally block will always be executed. So am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, today let us see different exception classes. Exception classes in C sharp. Okay, so now there is a master class. Master class means a top class of exception. Okay, so that class is basically system dot exception. Okay, system dot exception. There is a class called exception. Okay, which is inside the system namespace. Okay, remember, understand this thing, like within the system, within the .NET framework, there is a class called exception. Okay, which is inside the system namespace. Okay, now all other classes which is going to handle exceptions, or all other exception classes, is directly or indirectly inherited from which class? This exception class. Okay, just like the system.exception class, there are some kind of exceptions that occur during the application level, and there are some exceptions which are occur during the system level. Okay, some exceptions which occur during the application level, and some systems which occurs during the system level, at the system level. So therefore, to handle those kind of exceptions, there are two different kind of other exception classes are defined: application exception class and system exception class. I'll give you two examples. So suppose division by 0. If you divide 0 to any number, okay, so now what will happen? You will get infinity. You cannot divide it, isn't it? So you will get exceptions related to the exception class, application exception class. So this is an application exception, basically an error which occurs within your application, that is an application exception. Okay, so now similarly, what is a system defined exceptions? As I told you already, you are opening a file, the file is read only. Now your system is not locking that file. Who is locking that file? The file is being locked by the operating system. Okay, so that is the system level exceptions. So now to handle all the exceptions within the application exception class has been defined. Now to handle all the exceptions related to the system exception class has been defined. Okay, so now both of these two classes are inherited from exception class. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
So now system.application exception class, it is supports the exception generated by the application programs. So whatever programs you are writing, if the error occur within the same program, then the system.application exception class handles it. Okay. Now apart from this, there are 8 kind of exception classes. Okay, which are used within your program to handle exceptions. Okay, 8 kind of exception classes. So now all these 8 kind of exception classes have different purposes, are having some specific purpose, and these exception classes are derived from either application exception class or system exception class. Okay, so now see, the first exception is the IO exception. Okay, so this is derived from the system exception class. Okay, IO exception class. So it is used to handle errors, any kind of input output programs. Input output programs. So for example, you are declaring a variable. Okay, so in a program, basically what you used to do, you used to declare some variables, isn't it? Int A, B, C, you are declaring variables. Now think of a situation where there is no memory left. Okay, no memory left, or it may happens you are writing some text to a printer where the printer does not exist. Okay, so those kind of exception is basically called input output exceptions. So to handle those exceptions, this class has been can be used. IO exception class can be used. Okay, just I am showing you something. You see, you are taking two numbers over here. Okay, basically in the catch block, what you used to do to handle the exception, you have to define the exception class object. Okay, exception class object. Now here in the right line, instead of this, you can show the e dot message. Okay. Now look at this, I'm running a program. Okay, it is asking to enter a number. I'm entering say 12. Enter another number, but this time I'm entering some text. So you are getting a message, input string was not in a correct format. Look at this. Is there the line has been defined over here? This line over, basically input string was not in a correct format. Whatever is written over here, is there any definition for this? No. No, here I have written input string was. So where you have got this message? You got this message from E. That is E dot message. Basically this one it is printing. Input string was not in a correct format. So how did it happens? It happens basically, so whenever it founds an error over here, just like you are entering this, whereas it was asking for a number, so you have entered some string, isn't it? So immediately it has created an exception object. and that object has been thrown out. And with the help of this object, you are able to catch the exception object which has been thrown over here. And using this, you are displaying the message. Am I able to clear or not? अगर समझ में नहीं आए तो पूछो, मैं बार बार बताऊंगा ये चीज को, ठीक है? हेलो,
Yes, sir.
समझ में आया ये मैं जो बता रहा हूँ?
Yes, sir.
So you are creating an exception object over here, and it has been taken care by the catch block, and you are displaying the message. Now you see, here we have different exception class for specific situations. So for example, IO exceptions to handle input output errors. Okay, index out of range exceptions, it is the handles errors generated when a method refers to an array index out of range. Okay, so suppose an array is having 10 values, or an array is having a capacity of 10 values. Okay, so now you are accessing an element, say suppose 11th element or 12th element or 13th element, which does not exist. So in such a case, index out of range exceptions has been occurred. Array type mismatch exceptions, that is also there. So it is used to handle what? Errors generated by the type mismatch within an array type. So for example, there is a string array or an integer array, and you are assigning a string object to the integer array. So in that case, you will get the array type mismatch exceptions. Okay. Null reference exceptions. So now suppose one object which contains null values, and you want to display it. Okay, so you will get this kind of error message, null reference exceptions. Similarly, divide by zero exceptions. Okay, it is handles errors generated by dividing the divided with zero. So for example, like this, you see c equal to a divided by b. Okay, and console dot write line division is c. So I am taking two numbers from the user. Okay, this is the first number, this is the second number I am accepting, and dividing it and storing into a variable c, and I am displaying it. This is the simple program. Okay, so now here I'm running the program. You see, enter a number 12, second number 0. Okay, so in the next line, what it will do? It will divide 12 divided by 0. Attempted to divide by 0. So you are getting this error message through the exception class. Okay, so instead of exception class, I can use the specific exception object. System.divide by zero exceptions. This class I can use directly over here. Well, same output you are getting. So either you can use the superclass exception object, or you can use divide by zero exception class to handle specific kind of exceptions. Now here you are doing divide by zero error, right? Divide by zero error. So I cannot use over here this class. I cannot use it over here. Are you getting my point? So I cannot use this exception class. Why? Because you are getting a division by zero error over here. And this exception class cannot handle the division by zero error. So what you have to do is you have to use the specific exception class, or you can use the exception class directly. Both will work. But you cannot use some other kind of exceptions which even does not happening over here. Am I clear to all of you? Just like your division by zero exceptions, so there is also an invalid cast exceptions, handles errors generated during the typecasting. So during the data type conversion, so suppose you are converting an string to an integer. Okay, so for example, you are converting string s. S is a string which contains, say, suppose 2112. Okay, S is a string which contains 2112. So now converting the string. So what you are doing, C equal to, okay, convert dot 2 in 32 s. So what you are doing, you are converting this s to string, to integer, and you are storing into a variable called C, which is even of type integer. Okay, then you are displaying this thing. Converted result is C. Okay. Look at this. I'm running it. I'm providing 12. Okay. I am providing 2. Division 6. Converted result is 2112. Okay. So it is easily able to convert the 2112 to this thing C. Now suppose here instead of 2112 it is there SMIT. Well, input string was not in a correct format. Again, you are getting the same error, right? So why you are getting this error? Because you are trying to convert a string to an integer, okay, which the compiler was unable to convert it. So ultimately, it is creating an object of which class? It is creating an object of system invalid cast exception class, and it has been thrown out. And it has been thrown out. And that exception has been taken care by the exception object, that is E. So as a result, you are getting the E dot message as an output. Okay, am I clear to all of you? Now let us see.
Sir,
Yeah, I have already explained how to handle the exceptions over here. The simple program has been given over here. Now you can also cascade exceptions. Cascade exceptions. How? So suppose you can write over here, that is array index, not array type mismatch. What is that exception? Index out of range exceptions. Index out of range exceptions, console.readline return. Okay.
sir,
Yes.
सर
Yes.
सर जैसे कि सर ये एक एक्सेप्शन सर जनरल क्लास है सर,
Hmm.
और ये डिवीजन बाय जीरो एक दूसरा क्लास है।
ठीक है.
तो एक्सेप्शन क्लास का जो एक्सेप्शन, ये एक्सेप्शन क्लास वो एक्सेप्शन जो पकड़ रहा है सर,
Hmm.
वो भी सिमिलर मैसेज दिखा रहा है और डिवीजन क्लास भी सिमिलर मैसेज दिखा रहा है।
Exactly. Huh.
सर तो हाउ दिस टू क्लासेस आर लिंक्ड विथ ईच अदर सर?
I'll just tell you how these two classes are linked with each other. I was expecting this question from all of you. Anyway, I'll just explain it right now. That is, um, how these two classes are linked to each other. Okay, so I'll just explain it right now. Okay, is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, a simple principle, you remember one thing. Okay, simple principle of object oriented programming, all of you remember, that was happening in the Java, that is also happening in the C#. Okay, so suppose there is a class called ABC. Okay, I'm writing the Java source code over here. Okay, then I'll come to the C#, class ABC. Okay, then there is another class. Okay, PQR extends ABC. याद है ना?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so the PQR class is inheriting from the ABC class, right? Now remember, in the public static void main, okay, in the public static void main, okay, what I can do is basically see what are the things I can do, what are the things I cannot do. Look at this. I can create ABC A equal to new ABC. Okay, I can create an object of the superclass or the base class which can store object of its own class or instance of its own class, right? समझ में आया? Superclass can store objects, can store that is instance of, okay, own class. सुपर क्लास कैन स्टोर इंस्टेंस ऑफ ओन क्लास. यहां तक समझ में आया आप लोग को? Because
Yes, sir.
this is the super class, it can store instance of the its own class. Okay, similarly PQR P equal to new PQR. Okay. Derived class can store instance of derived class only. ये भी समझ में आया? If I am creating object of the PQR, then it can be initialized using the instance of its own class, right? Next thing, ABC A equal to new PQR. This is also possible, like base class object can be initialized using derived class. समझ में आया चीज? This is also possible. Base class object, this K is an object of the base class. It can be initialized using the instance of what? Instance of the derived class. यहां तक समझ में आया? But the reverse is not possible. Like PQR P equal to new ABC. Not possible. always father class object can hold the derived class objects, but the derived class object cannot hold the base class object. Am I clear to all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So these are the basic 4 principles of the object oriented programming. So because of that, these two things, so if you will create object of the ABC class A, okay, or say suppose P, okay, now this P can hold this derived class object, sorry, say suppose M. This M can hold what? This M can hold P. So what is P basically? P is the derived class object. What is M basically? M is basically what? The superclass object. So this can store. समझ में आया ये चीज? This is the basic principle of object-oriented programming for all object-oriented programming related programs or programming languages, whether it is C++, whether it is Java, whether it is .NET. सिसम यहाँ तक समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
अभी मैं तुम्हारा डाउट में आ रहा हूँ, ठीक है? Just I am changing this ABC to exception. Okay. And PQ are basically index, out of bound exceptions, extends exceptions. This is how it happens internally. Okay. So in the .NET, you have the static void main. So what I can do is, instead of ABC, I can create object of which class? This class. Okay. PQR is this class. Okay. ABC is again अब यहाँ पे देखो, exception class is the super class, index out of range exception is the derived class. Okay. So therefore, the object of exception class can hold instance of what? Derived class. That is index out of range exception class. Similarly, exception class object can hold instance of its own class, that is exception class. ये दो चीज समझ में आया अभी सिसम?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I am deleting these 2 lines. Okay. So a derived class or a parent class object can be initialized using its own constructor or own class, or it can be initialized using what? The derived class instance. ये दो चीज समझ में आया? Now this thing has been happened in this way. What you are doing is basically the moment there is an error occurs over here within your program, okay, the moment you are getting an error which occurs within your program, runtime error, first the environment, listen these words carefully, all my words carefully. First the environment is try to identify what kind of error it happens. Okay, what kind of error it happens. Then it creates an exception object of that specific type of error. Means if an array index out of bound exception has been happened, okay, so in that case the system creates object of index out of range exception class. If an error is happens related to the input output, okay, then the system creates an object of IO exception class. If an error occurs related to the divide by zero, then the system creates an object of divide by zero exception class. यहां तक समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now after creating that specific type of object, the system throws it. And the program stop at that place. Okay. So suppose at this point of time, if it's the divide by zero happens, if the second number is the zero, then what happens? The system creates an object of the divide by zero exception class and throws it. And the system or the program stops here at this point of time, stops here and just throws it. So now when the object is thrown out, divide by zero exception object has been thrown out. It, remember, it creates object of which class? It creates object of divide by zero exception class. Not the exception, not the application exception. It creates the divide by zero exception class. Okay. Then it throws out. So once it has been thrown out, it is the duty and responsibility of the catch block to hold that exception class. Now, how the catch block will hold that exception class? It should have an appropriate object to hold that. If it is throwing a divide by zero exception object, okay, it can only be handled by divide by zero exception class. Okay, divide by zero exception class, because in this case you have entered the second number as a zero. As a result, the program thrown a divide by zero exception object, so it is taken care by the divide by zero exception class. This is absolutely fine. This principle is applicable. Yes. So it is throwing and divide by D. So this object has been thrown out and it has to be taken care by the this object has been thrown out and it has been taken care by the divide by zero exception object. So means this thing is here, okay, and this thing is thrown out within here. समझ में आया अभी? Now since exception is the superclass of all other exceptions, since exception is the superclass of all other kind of exceptions, okay, so what I have done is basically instead of divide by zero exceptions, I have given exceptions. I have given what? Exceptions. Now this object is able to handle any kind of exceptions which happens within your program. Okay, so whether it is divide by zero exception, whether it is array type mismatch exception, whether it is index out of exceptions, so whatever the exception, it will be happened over here, the appropriate object will be thrown out and it will be taken care by the exception objects. This is simply is because of this. This exception is basically this thing. This exception is basically here, and any kind of exceptions which happens over there, okay, here it is thrown out. So as per the principle, I can hold I can use a parent class object to hold any kind of exceptions over here. समझ में आया चीज? This is the linking or the linkage over there. Exception is the super class. It can be used to hold any kind of exceptions. So now if your target is to create specific exception block to display specific message, then you can cascade your exceptions, something like this. Something like this. You can cascade exceptions. You can cascade exceptions. You can provide multiple exception block or the catch block. One try block can have multiple catch blocks, so you can provide multiple catch block. So here is a result. So if an error occurs related to the divide by zero, then the handle will comes to the divide by zero block. If an error occurs related to the memory, then the handle will comes to the memory and appropriate message will be shown out. Okay. Otherwise, what you can do, you can simply provide exception object at the beginning first, and these all things are not required. So in that case, you are using a generic handler, means whatever the error occurs, you are displaying a single message, specific message. So suppose if your array is index out of bound exceptions, so you are displaying a message. So if your error is related to the memory, still you will get the same message. So in that case, you will not be able to identify what kind of error has been happened within the try block. So therefore, it is always a good idea to have a cascade of exceptions to handle specific type of exceptions, so that you will be able to understand, like, yes, this was the error happens because of this message. This was the error happens because of this message, or this category of error happens because of this message. Are you getting my point or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is basically what about all the exception classes and how to handle the exception, that also I have explained. Anyway, this is related to all about your exceptions. Now here you can see you can create your own user defined exceptions. If you see the source code, okay, you can create your own user defined exceptions. What it is doing, it is having a test temperature class. It is creating a class, okay. Then within the class there is a main function, okay. So within the main function, it is creating an object of the temperature class, okay, the same class. Look at this. It is creating a object of the temperature class. Then it is displaying a message, okay. Now in this case, it is within the catch block, it is using temp is zero exceptions, okay. It is own defined exceptions. You can create your own defined exceptions. So in case of any error happens within the temp block, it can be taken care by the this object, and it is displaying a message over here, okay. Look at this, temp zero exceptions. So it is another class, it is defined by the user, and it is inherited from the exception class. Remember, it is inherited from the exception class, okay. So then it has a message as a function to display the message over here. You have to write the function in this way, so it is displaying the message over here. Now it is, since it is inherited from the exception class, therefore you can use this class as an exception class in your main program in the catch block. So this is all about your exception object. and the exception classes. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. I'm just sharing these notes to all of you. So in the next class, what we will do, we'll discuss the thread management. This thing. We left 4 sub chapters specifically that I will take you to the MC4SEM. But for all of you, I'll cover the thread management in the next class. Okay, for this much is today. Let
Thank
me
you,
take the
sir.
attendance. Okay, all of you can exit right now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.